So fair or not, Minneapolis's reputation has shifted. That change is affecting where people choose to live. For many buyers, that place is Bloomington. We live and work in this market. So today we're breaking down what Bloomington is really like, where it shines, where it's more affordable, and who the city actually fits. Because West Bloomington and East Bloomington feel really completely different. So choosing the wrong side or the side that doesn't fit your lifestyle can change the whole experience. What Bloomington is and why people know it. So most people think Bloomington is just a suburb with a big mall, right? The Mall of America. Well, that's really not the whole story. Bloomington is actually one of the largest cities in the entire state of Minnesota. Many buyers move here because they want to stay close to Minneapolis without living inside the city, right? So Bloomington sits in Hennepin County along the north side of the Minnesota River. The city is about 10 miles south of downtown Minneapolis, and getting around is super easy. I-35 really cuts right down the middle of Bloomington, and then 494 is on really the north side for the most part of the entire city and running east to west. So now two things made Bloomington famous, right? First is the Mall of America. It is the largest shopping mall in the United States by total retail space. It has more than 520 stores, restaurants, and an indoor amusement park and an aquarium, believe it or not. Over 30 million people actually visit the mall each year. And second is the international airport is right there in Bloomington. The airport sits right next to it, right? It serves more than 30 million passengers also. A lot of those probably coming to the Mall of America. It also has a major Delta Airlines hub. So Minneapolis is ranked the #1 mega airport in North America for passenger satisfaction many times over and over. So if you travel often, that matters, right? Many residents reach the terminal in less than 10 minutes. 494 also runs through Bloomington. This corridor holds one of the largest job centers in the entire region. So corporate offices, logistic companies, airport jobs, mall-related businesses, thousands upon thousands of people actually work here. Bloomington often hits the sweet spot for many buyers, right? It's close to Minneapolis, but not inside the city. One way to think about this is Bloomington is the convenience hub of the Twin Cities. The river sits to the south, freeways circle the city, the Mall of America and the airport sit right there. So some people love that energy. Others may feel maybe it's a little bit too busy. I kind of like it myself. But later we'll show you how Bloomington can feel very different depending on where you live. So that part really matters to a lot of people. So a quick note before we continue. If you're relocating to the Twin Cities and Bloomington is on your list, we'd love to help you. We work with many out-of-state buyers who want a local perspective and knowledge. Our contact information is in the description down below. So reach out and we'll help you figure out what actually fits your needs. So now let's talk about the lifestyle. The rivers, the parks, and space. Now here's something that surprises almost everyone who visits Bloomington for the first time. The suburb is far greener than people expect. About a third of Bloomington is parkland or open space. Remember, it butts right up to the Minnesota River there, so there's a ton of walking trails down along Purgatory Creek and so forth, and you can get into nature extremely fast to the point where you're like, wow, am I actually close to a city of 90,000 people? So many people assume the city is just the Mall of America and highways, but that's the furthest from the truth. In reality, it's one of the greenest second ring suburbs in the entire metro, and I would bet in the entire country, to be really transparent. So the entire south side of the city runs along the Minnesota River like we talked about. Drive down there and the feel changes immediately. We have trees, all sorts of wildlife, turkeys, there's a ton of bald eagles because you're right along the Minnesota River, a lot of open space. It does not feel like a busy metro at that point. So that area that we're talking about includes the Minnesota River Valley National Wildlife Refuge. This is not a tiny park. It's a massive protected area with miles of trails. Head west in Bloomington and you'll find Highland Lake Park Reserve. Right next to Highland Lake Park Reserve is the Highland Hills ski area. The Highland Lake Park Reserve is massive. It has trails, wide open views, disc golf, and plenty of nature areas. In the winter, people come here to downhill ski, cross-country ski, snowboard. So Minnesota actually has a strong local ski culture. Believe it or not, actually profoundly strong. Lindsey Vonn got her start skiing at a hill called Buck Hill right here in Burnsville, Minnesota, and they've actually trained multiple Olympic skiers and gold medal skiers. So who would have thunk, right? So when summer arrives, those same hills become hiking trails and disc golf courses. Standing there, it's hard to believe the Mall of America is only a few miles away. Bloomington still overall, though, it's not a small historic downtown area or suburb for that matter, right? You're not walking a charming main street every weekend. Some areas include big retail spaces and large parking lots. That's simply part of the city. The outdoor access here is very real. The parks, the river access, and the trails. For a suburb this close to everything, that combination really is super hard to find. Before looking at homes, there's something very important though that you need to understand. Bloomington West versus Bloomington East. Bloomington does not feel the same everywhere within the city limits, that's for sure. The city splits into two clear parts, West Bloomington and East Bloomington. Where you live changes your drive, your budget, and the homes that you'll see. So West Bloomington generally has larger homes, more single-family homes, more traditional neighborhood feel to the streets that you're driving down and the neighborhoods that you're driving through. So prices are usually higher on the west side of Bloomington. The median sales price currently is around $390,000, and many homes fall into the upper 300s to the low 400s. East Bloomington has more affordable homes, more post-war single-family houses, plus townhomes, low-rise condos, and high-rise condos. So the median sales price is closer to $325,000. So across the whole city, median values sit around the mid 300s. So compare that to nearby cities. Edina, which touches Bloomington, Eden Prairie, which also touches Bloomington, often sit in the mid 450,000 range to 750,000, right? So Bloomington can provide metro access for less money. And that's a convenience a lot of people are attracted to. That difference really does matter for many buyers. So West Bloomington often feels quieter and more residential. East Bloomington offers great access to retail and freeways, but it can feel busier, right? Neither side is right or wrong. It really depends on what you want. And the best way to really get a good feel is to drive the neighborhoods, to drive the retail, to drive it all and get an idea for what you like. So let's transition to housing. All of this, parks, trails, airport access, and location connects directly to the housing market. It's the reasons buyers keep moving here. So let's talk about what that means for home prices. So housing stock and what buyers need to know. So here's something you will not see in listing photos. Bloomington quickly grew after World War II. The city expanded fast through the 1950s, 60s, and 70s. That history shows up in the homes. You'll see ramblers, split-level houses, two-story homes, large yards, mature trees lining the streets. So neighborhoods feel established because they are. There's really no new neighborhoods. I mean, you have small little pockets here and there where, a 2-acre spot or someone put it in a cul-de-sac and 5 houses. But for the most part, we have extremely established neighborhoods in East Bloomington or in West Bloomington. So it's not going to be brand new unless they're infills. They're not empty. They're just lived in, right? So these are homes that are in established neighborhoods because they're older home stock for the most part. They're between the 50s to the 70s. Some newer townhomes do exist, especially there's pockets in East Bloomington close to 35 that are close to the river bluffs. There are a few new developments, and those are pretty limited though for the most part. Many of these homes have solid bones, right? They've survived for decades of Minnesota winters. The neighborhoods feel settled. Trees are fully grown. Streets feel quiet and established. And for many buyers, that character is a huge plus. So now let's talk about something really important. Older homes mean older systems. Some houses have fully updated kitchens and bathrooms. Others still look like they came out of that 70s show, but that's okay. You can change that. Or maybe you like that and that's your jam, right? So before buying, you want to check out the major systems. The roof, the furnace, electrical, plumbing. So you want to get all those inspected or at very least know what you're getting into. The key is going in with open eyes. Have a strong inspection, have a clear budget, a smart plan for updates. Now, let's talk about the real pros and cons of living here. So the pros and cons, the honest mistake. Let's keep it simple and frank. So first, the pros. Location is a huge one. Bloomington sits minutes from the Minneapolis-St. Paul Airport, minutes from the Mall of America, and sometimes seconds. I-35 runs right up the middle, and 494 connect the entire metro. Between the two of them, you can pretty much get within anywhere of really any suburb in the Twin Cities. If you travel for work, this location is huge. Another major pro is the outdoor space. Highland Lake Park Reserve, Highland Hills Ski Area, Minnesota Valley National Wildlife Refuge, just to name a few. We have miles of river trails. So for a suburb this close to the city, that amount of nature is extremely rare. Now, a few honest cons. Traffic on 494 gets busy, especially eastbound traffic. For whatever reason, eastbound 494 has been, will be, and will always be somewhat slow almost at any part of the day besides after 10 o'clock at night. So major shopping days, right, they can be heavy. Anytime you're close to the largest mall in North America, guess what? There's going to be traffic and you're going to have to deal with that. But that's okay, because there's two major arteries right there. You have Cedar and you have 494. And that mall was built in the mid 90s. So the benefit of that is they were really good at traffic flows at that point. They knew how many people were going to come in there. Some of the largest parking structures in the entire world are there. So there's all sorts of parking that keeps you close to the mall. It's really easy to get in and out, even if you're lazy like me and wait till Christmas Eve for some of your shopping, you still can make it happen. So you always want to test your commute before buying. If you're lucky, you can find one of those with a great agent like ourselves that's fully updated and doesn't need anything. So some parts of Bloomington feel more practical than charming. I'm not going to lie about that. Large retail areas, commercial buildings, and freeways nearby. So many buyers find the trade-offs worth it. Next, let's talk about who Bloomington is the best fit for. So Bloomington works extremely well for certain buyers. For others, it might not. Frequent travelers love it. Living 10 minutes from the airport changes your routine completely. There's no 45-minute drive to the airport. And better yet, there's no 45-minute drive when you get home from wherever you were traveling for, whether that was work or pleasure. I know if you're anything like me, the last thing you want to do is land at the airport and take a 45-minute to an hour drive to get home. Well, if you live in Bloomington, that just won't be the case. It's going to be within 10 minutes. So that convenience, especially if you travel a lot, that really adds up over time. Bloomington also works well if you want metro access without living downtown, right? You are about 10 minutes from Minneapolis. That's it. So the Blue Line light rail runs through Bloomington to the airport and downtown. You can stay connected without city noise. Buyers looking for a strong location at a lower price often land here, and they're really not sacrificing anything, frankly. So compared to Edina, Minnetonka, or Eden Prairie prices, Bloomington is kind of that diamond in the rough. You still get excellent access to jobs, shopping, and the airport. Outdoor lovers also enjoy the lifestyle here, with trails, ski hills, river access, and nature really close to home. There's tons of restaurants, shopping, airport access, all nearby. So now let's talk about who it may not fit. So buyers looking for a small walkable downtown, coffee shops or boutique shops, historic streets, that lifestyle exists in other suburbs in the Twin Cities. It just doesn't exist in Bloomington. So Bloomington is simply different. Understanding that difference helps you decide if it fits your lifestyle, which is the most important. So Bloomington may not be the fanciest suburb in the entire Twin Cities, but that's okay. It offers a strong location, excellent parks, and a wide range of home prices. The biggest thing to remember is this: West and East Bloomington feel very different. Choose carefully before you buy. If you're moving to the Twin Cities and want a short list of neighborhoods that fit your commute and your budget, email us at team@hgus.com. And don't miss our monthly webinar for home buyers to answer all of your questions about moving to the Twin Cities. The link is down below. So tell us your price range, where you work, and what matters most, and we'll live answer on our webinar. Another video is linked right here showing where growth is actually happening in the Twin Cities. So go check that one out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video and at the next house.